A friend of mine wanted to change their partner. She said that, yeah, he's just like me in many ways. We're both hot-headed, we're both argumentative, but she wants him to change. She said he needs to do better. He needs to listen to her more. He needs to be calmer. He needs to consider her more when he thinks and when he acts. So the question is, how do you change your partner if they're not doing what you want them to do? So I've got 6 tips to help you understand change, help you understand the context of change, and how to do it with less stress. You know, the thing is, whether someone is like me or not, sometimes I'm hard to live with. I can imagine that I'm difficult to live with. I've got ways about me. And so for me to ask someone to change, I'm asking them to either be like me on one hand or be unlike me on the other, you know. But the truth is they are who they are. You know, they are. If I'm going to ask someone to this is this is the first tip now. So to help us put change or the change of our partner in perspective, ask yourself this question first. Tip number 1, ask yourself this question first. Have you changed? Have you become all that you need to be? Now, just for a moment, identify within yourself if there's anything about you that hasn't changed forever. And just think, how might that impact the other person? And then ask yourself the question finally, why haven't you changed it? Because the truth is, why? Because change is a challenge. Change is difficult. Changing something about yourself, fundamental to yourself, is not easy. It is so far from easy. The thing about that you love the most about yourself, the thing about you that makes you feel comfortable with yourself, that helps you to function the way you do, it's not easy. So how can you then ask someone else to do the same when the situation is just the same? Yes, it may be something that bugs you, gets on your nerves, makes you cry, but change is not easy. So if you want them to change, first recognize, have you changed? Have you changed enough? Because technically it's not fair. You're asking them to do something that you haven't done yourself. But tip number 2, the truth is that change can take years. The colleague or the friend of mine who told me about her trying to change her partner, she's been with him for about 14 years and he hasn't changed. She's frustrated because she says she's done everything. Of course she hasn't. But I said to her, it can take a long time and it's not easy. And so you have to be prepared to live with some of the process, okay? Because the process is glorious. As a person, me, myself, I'm happier with the process. So if I see people changing, that's more important to me than the final product, because the truth is that we never stop changing. Even when we're left to our own selves, even when we're left to our own devices, we really don't stop changing, where there's always something developing or evolving inside us. But when I'm looking at the other person, I want it to happen now. But actually, and I said this to her, I said, it can take 10 years, but you haven't done everything. And then after going through the conversation, she recognized, no, I haven't. There's more to do on her part. So recognize that it can take 10, 15, 20 years for you to get some of the simplest changes from somebody. But then that moves us on to point or tip number 3. Tip number 3 is that some change that you want or feel that you need may never happen. How much can I say about that? How much can I say about change that won't take place? If it will never happen, I guess the question you can ask yourself is, are you prepared to live with certain things that will never happen? You have to think about that one. If there are certain things that don't change, am I going to stick around? I think it's a fair question. Then I guess you'd have to ask yourself, what would you be prepared to change to accommodate for their lack of change? Tip number 3 is, though, that you would need to recognize the importance of the role of patience. Having patience, like patience is, wow, that's one of the greatest challenges in a relationship, because when things aren't going the way they should, when you're waiting, I mean, I'm the kind of person, I am impatient in certain ways. I don't like waiting. If I'm at a bus stop, I will walk to the next one. I hate waiting. I feel like I'm wasting time. Got things to do. Got to keep it moving. You over there, you got to change your ways, because for me, waiting for you to do what I think you need to do is something that I struggle with, on some levels. But I thank God. God has like showed me about patience. The truth is why? Because God showed me about myself. So whilst he's waiting for me to change something, this goes all the way back to number one, the first tip. Like, God is like, I've been waiting for you to change. There's certain things that you still do that I don't like. You're still here. You ain't dead. Lightning ain't strike you. God has shown me, man. I got kids, and I tell you, for those of us who have kids, we might recognize that kids test us. And if without patience, where would they be? God waiting for me to change certain things that may never change for whatever reason. Maybe I'm too proud, I don't care enough, has shown me so much about the other person. So when I'm looking at changing somebody or waiting for them to change their ways, I recognize that I haven't changed certain ways about myself. So I've gone in a full circle now. Yeah, I've gone in a full circle. But patience can give way to point number 4. Five. Is that it will allow me to recognize I need to be the person I want them to be. I need to be, therefore, more patient. If I need to be more kind, then be kind. Patience with myself and them has allowed me to evolve. And again, then it goes back to the process. I can see change in me. Compare me to 10 years ago. If you ask Juanita now, what was I like compared to 10 years ago? She will say that I've changed in many ways. Some ways I haven't. But she will tell you that because I'm on a journey. And so I recognizing that I am becoming more of the person I want her to be for me. And that is a tough one, but that's what it's been. And although change is forever, change is always evolving, I'm becoming more at peace with the process rather than focusing on that end product of what I want her to be. I've now taken my eyes off of her and put it on me. She is who she is. She will change when she's ready. But looking at myself, I recognize that I am really on my way to being better. And as I go on, I'm finding out more things about myself that need more change, which makes me feel like I'm setting myself back, but really I'm just exposing more about who and what I am. And so it's only fair that I be who I want her to be, which then I have no great need for her to be everything that she needs to be, that I thought I wanted her to be. So I'm finding more comfort within myself. And so I guess this leads on to this 6th point. The 6th point is that a lot of the time the best sermons come through actions. I believe that the greatest ministry that we have or that we can use, the greatest sermons ever preached are those that are seen. So it's like, it's one thing preaching on a stage, we got to be this and that, but but the greatest message was seen. So sometimes someone will be nagging, constantly saying, but you're this, you're that. Actually, let me show you what I need you to be, quietly, for years. And I look at women like my grandparents who, you listen to the stories of their marriages, which are completely different from what I've had to live with, or what Winnie's had to live with, where, typically the men were very narrow-minded, coming from a very hard life, with these women who are very, very submissive. And the level of submission from these women, my grandparents, my grandmothers, who just constantly gave and submitted. And for a lot of women now, even men, but for a lot of women now, they are not about that level of submission, which is powerful ministry. If he ain't doing this, I'm out. And really, that's not how Christ works with us. But still, whatever the situation, be that person in action, not just in words. Don't just give your words, but be that quietly. Don't say anything. If you want service, serve. If you want love, then love. If you want the other person to be thoughtful, then be thoughtful. If you want someone to cook for you, cook for them. If you want someone to be patient, be patient. And so change takes time. I hope that you got something from this. Please subscribe. There's more coming. We've got a lot more new content coming on This Is Marriage Sessions. Man, let me throw this in. I could do all this promotion. Let me share this with you. Christ got me changing the way I think. That's my number one piece of advice is Christ, his model. Have a good day.